Hello everyone, what you see here is a very old 24-inch Samsung B-series monitor. Right now it only shows the standby signal and does not power on. Let me show you what happens. I have connected a signal generator that works flawlessly. If you're interested in it, I'll leave a link in the description to a video where I demonstrated it. The generator is set to output a white mesh on a black background, allowing the monitor to detect it and power on, if it's working properly. But as you can see, the blue standby LED is on and nothing else happens. No response, no Samsung logo on startup. No matter what I press, the monitor simply doesn't turn on. So let's open it up and see if we can find what's causing this issue. Usually when a monitor or TV refuses to turn on from standby, the most common causes are bad filter capacitors in the power supply, a short circuit in the low voltage stage, typically on the 5 volts or 12 volts rails. But let's check everything and see what's going on. This type of Samsung monitor is opened with a bit of force, as you can see. It's not too difficult, but it does require some effort. Now that it's open, I'll remove the high voltage board. This board is responsible for generating the power needed for the backlight, which in this case uses cold cathode fluorescent lamps, CCFLs. Yes, this is a 15-plus-year-old monitor. A customer left it with me years ago and it's been sitting in a corner for about 5 or 6 years. Today I finally decided to take a look and see if I can bring it back to life for a few more years. After removing the high voltage board, I will now take out the main power supply board, which is located inside this metal cage. Be careful not to damage any cables, especially the T-Con board cable. The power supply board is secured with 4 screws, so I'll unscrew them now. Do not touch the board in the middle to avoid accidentally discharging the main capacitor into yourself. This can be dangerous. You can't be sure if the manufacturer included a resistor in parallel with the capacitor to automatically discharge it after power off. If they didn't, the main voltage capacitor could still be holding up to 350 volts, which can shock you very hard, or even be deadly. So do not attempt this if you don't know what you're doing. Now that both the high voltage board and main power supply board are out, let's take them to my workbench and check for bad capacitors or shorted components, since these are the 2 most common reasons a device refuses to power on from standby. Of course, there could be other issues, but these are the most likely culprits in a case like this. Here on the workbench you can clearly see how I search for a possible short circuit, with my instrument visible in the upper right corner. To keep things quick and engaging, I've sped up the video a bit, but you can still follow the checkups and see that the board looks clean with no shorts or anything suspicious. I also checked these 2 electrolytic capacitors to determine if they are still good. Measuring them in circuit isn't always reliable, but it can still give an indication of whether they are fine or need further inspection. Moving on to the power supply board. First, I checked the fuses. Everything looks good. Then I took a quick look around the board to identify key components before deciding to focus on the circuit responsible for powering the high voltage board. Here is the PWM driver, which controls the MOSFETs responsible for generating high-frequency pulses in the transformer, ultimately producing the necessary output voltage for the high voltage board to function. And here I do have some kind of short circuit on this capacitor. Let's remove it and see if the short disappears. The capacitor is out, but as you can see, the short is still there. After further measurements and checking the datasheet of this PWM controller, I am quite confident that the short is inside the PWM IC itself. So let's remove it and confirm. The removal of the PWM controller is done using hot air at around 360 degrees Celsius. After about 15 seconds, the chip is successfully removed. But then, this happened. Look at this. This is what happens when a board is too old. The heat damaged it beyond repair. See this bulge on the PCB? That's the end of this repair. At this point, I won't attempt to fix it further. It's simply not worth it. Even if I somehow repaired this, new problems would appear soon. So this monitor is officially done. It will now go through component salvaging and the rest will go to the garbage. Thank you for watching. This video was to show you that not all repairs go as planned. A lot of unexpected things can happen, especially when working on very old devices.